Yahoo, as the Japanese say. Just leaving the gym, hopping in the car, and I have a tale of two gym stories for you today. And I challenge you to think about which person out of these stories you would prefer to be remembered as the next time you're in the gym and you're thinking about gym etiquette. All right, story one. I'm in the special glute room of this gym, which is magical, by the way. 4 different hip thrust machines, a 45-degree hyper, a gluteator, which is like a hip abduction machine, not a hack squat, different kind of squat. Anyway, lots of cool machines. Also, lots of newbies wander in there and have no idea what to do, but either pretend that they know or are very open about being newbies. Today, kind of like a mixture of that. So this woman who kind of hopped up on the 45-degree hyper, which if you don't know is kind of like your upper body is like hanging over a little hip pad, and then you kind of come up at an angle and use your glutes to squeeze. And there actually had been another member on the machine. It was a male. Just I mentioned that because he had quite a bit of weight on the machine. He had headphones in and he was kind of supersetting between 2 machines. And what was so sweet was that when he turned around to go back to the 45-degree hyper and saw her kind of getting set up to do the movement, he kind of did not say he was using the machine, did not stake claim to it at all, actually offered to like deload the machine, which I think she hadn't even realized was loaded, because she was just kind of feeling out like, what is this machine even for? Let me just try it, even body weight. And then I kind of hopped in too, because I wanted her to just know, in case she grabbed the handle, like, I think this machine might be 45 pounds, even empty. So then on top of it, he's got these plates, and turned out she was just gonna do it body weight and not even hold the handle, so it was fine. But you know, there was a common understanding between him and me that we were kind of like keeping her safe and also helping her feel welcome. Car just pulled right out in front of me and Tesla handled it. Great job, Tesla. Not great job, Elon Musk. Not a fan, but love a car that drives me and keeps me from getting in accidents. That was a side note. Anywho, we were, silently but mutually understanding that we were kind of like keeping her safe, keeping an eye on her, making sure that we deload the machine if she did go for the handle. Also that she deserved to take up space as much as any of us, even though he had previously been using the machine and she didn't quite have the situational awareness to know that, or to know to ask to work in, or whatever would be the norm. So anyway, that was just very, very sweet. She went on her way, left the glute room, and I just kind of, before I left the space, turned to him, took out my AirPod, and was like, that was the sweetest thing. I absolutely love seeing people be kind and welcoming to newbies in the gym, because we want to see them around here more. And he was like, absolutely. Have a great day. So that was just such a wholesome, heartwarming interaction on all sides. I just remembered a third interaction I had today too. I might have to tell that story. Then, other end of the spectrum by far. Later on, I come back to that glute room looking to use a particular hip thrust machine. Now there are 4, so I could have used any. Full disclosure, and I do own that I was like, I want to use this one because it's the one I've been using my whole program, and it feels the same, and it biomechanically hits my muscles the same way. So I wanted to finish out my 12-week block using that same machine. And I saw a girl getting ready to use the machine, and I just wanted to clarify with her, are you starting or finishing? And she did have a little bit of RBF. I'll say that could have just been her default facial expression, but she clearly staked claim that she was starting, which was fine. I had a mat. I started doing some mobility and release work, thinking she'll do her sets and then I'll get started. It'll be great. Only her sets turned into 5 sets with extensive breaks in between, which included a lot of scrolling of Instagram. To finally, like between set 4 and 5, I just kind of popped in and politely was like, hey, how many sets do you have left? Could I work in? Which, if you don't know, working in just means like while you're resting, another person uses the machine, which that makes sense, right? Just why not? Everybody gets to share and play nice, and everybody gets their workout in. But not everybody knows that custom. I think she might have been from another country, because once she spoke, I could sense an accent. So maybe she just didn't know that custom. That's totally fair. But I do think she was like, at a certain extent, extending her rest periods just to stake claim further on the equipment. Like, I was here first, I'm going to take up as much space as long as I want. And listen, I am all for everyone taking up space in the gym. You deserve to be there as much as any other person. And I would say the other side of that is you don't deserve to be there more than any other person. So like, if a person is politely asking to work in, or if you're like resting for so long that you have time to scroll social media, possibly it's time to move on, or at least share the equipment. Just a thought. So you tell me, which person would you rather be? The kind, almost like secretly caring man who was looking out for a newbie, and in so doing helping her feel welcome to take up space and be safe, and maybe even start building a new habit and a new identity of going to this gym and feeling like she can try anything she wants and she's welcome in that space? Or the girl who's staking claim and extending rest periods and scrolling and not allowing somebody to share the equipment? And granted, I don't know where that's coming from. We never know where people's behavior is coming from. I want to put that out there. Other people's behavior is very seldom about us, and almost always a projection of their own whatever. Could be something happened before she came to the gym, or last night, or she had an interaction with a coworker, a boss, a partner, and she's feeling a little bit in a defensive crouch, or like she has to protect somehow. And that's completely okay if that just came out at me in that moment. But interestingly, on the other side, being able to see how other interactions are able to go, I think it is really worth noting that no matter what happens in our day, like even if somebody does kind of cut in and take our space, that's almost like being cut off in traffic. That woman took that guy's machine in a way. And did he react or project irritation at her? Absolutely not. He actually took the opportunity to silently and respectfully make her feel just as much welcome in that space as he was, and just as able to take up space. And I just think that's a really beautiful thing, when we can kind of recognize our own stuff that we're carrying with us and not project it out onto the other people in our ecosystem. And I'm sure I'm guilty of being the second girl all the time, don't get me wrong. But I think I personally would strive to be the first guy. How about you? Do you have a gym story? Share it below. Or just an experience where it felt like someone was projecting at you, or maybe where you projected at somebody. I've been guilty of that too a million times. If you have gotten this far and something comes to mind, please share it below. Have a great day.